I was tortured, but before I get there, I'll tell you what I did first. Une fois, once upon a time, I had a three-bedroom detached house with a conservatory and a hot tub, and I used to work in IT for the banks, contracting. Um, on about 70k. Then there was a recession, and I didn't get any more contracts in. And I did my own site, thesecretary.co.uk, and ran out of money essentially. And couldn't afford to pay any bills, had no incoming, had more than one house, couldn't get on benefits, and ended up basically having no money for food. So I had to live off food I could find on the street, basically leftover takeouts, that type of thing, for a year. Pawned an old engagement ring and lived off £1 a day for a bit. And eventually I ran out of time and the bank's repossessed. Now, Gordon Brown had gone on the record saying that no country would be invaded for failure to pay its debts. This was the G8 to the G20 summit. This was going back a long, long while ago. So, using my legal brain, I came up with a plan of declaring independence and the formation of a separate state, citing Article 15 and Article 17 of the UN Declaration of Human Rights. Article 15 being it allows you to change your nationality, fine, and Article 17 the right to own property. And well, possession is 9/10 of the law. So it's like I was annoyed, I was angry, and there was no way I was going to surrender my land. So I picked up a sword and went, "This is my land, please leave," when the bailiff showed up to repossess in March 2011. This was a stupid thing to do. They called the gun squad out, and there was about a 7.5 hour siege, and they stormed in through the kitchen back door, and I got shot in the hand and tasered 3 times. There's still a scar on my hand, which you may be able to see in the dark. That's which acts as a reminder of what they did. Um, they basically handcuffed me, took me to a police station, stripped me out of all my clothes. I was ordered to strip naked. I was prevented from seeing a lawyer. They eventually took me to a hospital where I got a plaster on my hand. Still no access to a lawyer. Taken back to the police station 2 days later. Left in a police cell. While there, I saw a Roman, whatchamacallit, pole banner with the eagle on the top saying the eagle has landed. And it was mental health, also known as the Gestapo. And I was basically prevented from having access to a lawyer, shipped to a mental health facility in Middlesbrough. Still no access to a lawyer. Um, and they basically injected me with what they called was an antipsychotic, which was basically caused my mouth and tongue to swell up so I couldn't speak and my jaw to rip itself apart. It was doing this backwards and forwards at an extreme rate. I couldn't stop it, and it felt as though it was going to rip itself apart, and it was extreme agony and pain. And I count that as torture and a breach of Article 3 of the European Convention of Human Rights. Obviously, no access to a lawyer or anybody else, friends, numbers. It's like people on my estate were prevented from seeing me. The police scared them off. At the time, I'd lost touch with family and friends, so it was like absolutely on my own, not even in my own clothes, because I was just wearing what they'd been given me, and it was like the scariest experience of my life. Now, I spent 21 months on those hospitals waiting for the police to charge me with assault, occasioning actual bodily harm, and affray. According to the police, they wanted to do me for cause grievous bodily harm. They basically said that I'd hit all 3 officers with a sword. Now, bearing in mind, they came in in full body armour, all in black, looking like the hit squad that took Osama bin Laden out. Guns raised, through the back door, in a pyramid formation, 3 of them. How the hell am I supposed to close that distance and actually hit any of them with a sword? It's impossible. Well, it's probably not impossible if you watch Kill Bill, but it's extremely unlikely that I would get a hit in. And as far as I'm concerned, I didn't. But they were basically brainwashing me, saying, you hit them, you hit them, you hit them. So I pleaded guilty just to get out of the place, which was a stupid thing to do. But there you go. So now I have a criminal record and mental health. Now, according to one of the hospitals, I've got a persistent delusion of the Constitution, the British Constitution. The other 2 hospitals did the Soviet route and said schizophrenia because of my psychic experiences, clairaudience, clairvoyance, and that kind of thing. When I got out of hospital, I was basically, your mind turns to jelly in those places, and your IQ drops to about 4. And when I got out, I was a little bit timid and stuff, and they were like scaring me from going anywhere near a spiritualist church. However, I went anyway, and I'm glad I did. I got a blank look at the psychic readings I gave, so no takers. However, I saw chains on one of the psychic mediums when she was giving a psychic reading just before she went into a discussion on chains. I can't remember the context now and stuff, but that kind of thing gave me confidence. It's like, yes, I'm a psychic, I can cope with this, and it's build my self-esteem back up. And I saw on another occasion a man with a Rasputin hat, whatever they're called. And when I described this, a woman in the row in front of me to the right basically went, yes! And apparently it turned out that her granddad, I think it was her granddad, wore one. And there was a picture on the mantelpiece with him in this Rastafarian hat. And it was like, okay, that's a hit. Some half hits regarding dogs and stuff like that, and fish, but nothing really impressive. So I get clairvoyance occasionally, but it's rare. Well, not rare, it comes and goes. It's like I got Last of the Mohicans image, and it turned out that my girlfriend at the time was asking her daughter about whether she wanted a Mohican haircut. So it's kind of picture symbolism type thing. You don't get to find out half the time whether you're right and wrong and stuff. And fortunately it still works despite the medication. As much as the religious Mutaween, the Gestapo or Psycho, no matter what you want to call them, tries to do, they haven't been able to shut it down. They can't stop God getting through, which is a relief, because they keep arguing that it's a mental illness and they want to stop it because they don't believe in psychic development or psychics and stuff. They're completely and utterly atheist, and anybody who has any psychic experiences is crazy. So it's kind of depressing. They show up still, giving their cruel and unusual punishment, and still inject me. So I've got to put up with the Gestapo once a month. Other than that, they've started to leave me alone. So that's basically what's happened over the last few years, and why I stopped doing the Satanic Witch videos, and why my site went under. It's back up, but there's not many people on there, to be honest, so it's kind of a relic. I tried doing the news for a bit, but that doesn't really work, and so I'm stuck learning French. So there you go. A bientôt. Au revoir. And good day.